Hello Niles and welcome. I'm your host, Charles Nelson, and for the next half hour, we're diving deep into the heart of Niles, Michigan, where small town charm meets big time spirit. From our beautiful parks and local events to the hidden gems that make our city unique, we'll explore what makes Niles the place to be. So sit back and let's celebrate everything Niles has to offer. You're listening to Hello Niles on WNIL Radio, where community comes alive. Hello and welcome to this month's episode of Hello Niles. We have another great show for you with some amazing guests. We're joined by Christina Arsenault, the director of the Niles History Center, Michael Rowland, the president of the Michigan Gateway Community Foundation, and our business sponsor spotlight of the month is CK Home Group. So we're joined by Cathie Waggoner of CK Home Group and our business sponsor spotlight. And so before we get started, let's hear about CK Home Group.
Looking to buy or sell a home in Southwest Michigan? At CK Home Group, we're more than just real estate agents. We're your trusted partners. From start to finish and even beyond closing, we're here to make your home ownership dreams come true. Available anytime, we're dedicated to your success and making your journey seamless. CK Home Group, helping you make Southwestern Michigan home. Visit www.ckhomegroup.com for more information. That's www.ckhomegroup.com.
And before we dive into our interviews, I just wanted to take a moment and mention the upcoming Hunter Ice Festival in downtown Niles, Michigan, January 17th through the 19th. This is the 21st annual Hunter Ice Festival, and once again this year's festival is presented by the Modenier Group for the second year in a row. So thank you, Modenier, for helping put on this beloved family-friendly event. If you've never been to the Hunter Ice Festival, then you are in for a treat. There'll be carvings placed all throughout downtown Niles, and then on Saturday you'll be able to witness some live carvings. People will be out and about on the different corners throughout downtown, and they will be carving sculptures for everybody to see, and some of them are just so amazing. They're all really impressive, mostly because I could never do anything like that. But these sculptures are just truly one of a kind and great. And we really thank the artists for coming and being a part of it. And for the community, we thank you for helping put on this festival, whether it's through volunteering or sponsorships and things like that. You'll see their logos or their names next to some of these sculptures downtown. So all of the individuals and businesses who were able to donate and help put on this festival, thank you so much, and we're excited to see what these carvers come up with this year. So if you would like to know more about the Hunter Ice Festival, you can head to uncoverniles.com and click on Hunter Ice Festival. You can also follow the Hunter Ice Festival on Facebook and Instagram. And there you will find a schedule of events that will happen throughout the weekend, as well as any specials that businesses might have. There's going to be a lot of people downtown. There are years where this festival brings over 20,000 people to downtown Niles. And even when it's super cold or the weather isn't quite cooperative, we still have well over 10,000 people that come down and see this festival. So it's just such a great atmosphere with amazing energy. I know a lot of the businesses will have fun events and specials going on. It's always a favorite of the local businesses down there because so many people come to town, and it's such a great thing to see people walking downtown, going into the businesses and supporting local. It's awesome. So this event is put on by the Niles DDA Main Street organization, and we've had Lisa on here before, and as well as Bettina. If you're interested at all in helping out during the festival, you can again send a message to either the Hunter Ice Festival or the Niles Main Street Facebook or Instagram pages. You can also reach out to me, Charles, at onbaseproductions.com. So whether you're coming to volunteer or just see the sculptures or support all of the amazing businesses downtown, we hope to see you there at the Hunter Ice Festival, January 17th through the 19th. And with that, let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome back. We are here with Christina Arsenault, the director of the Niles History Center. Christina, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So we love the History Center. We just wanted to get you on here, and so people who may not be in the know what this History Center is and what it has to offer. We talked about this just before we started recording, as briefly as you can.
Got it.
Can you describe, give us an overview of what the Niles History Center is?
Sure. So the Niles History Center is made up of the historic Chapin Mansion and the Fort St. Joseph Museum, which is the building directly behind that. And the two operate together as the History Center. So the Fort St. Joseph Museum has been in operation since the 1930s, and it focuses on general Niles history. It goes all the way back to prehistoric time, talks about the colonial fort era, all the way up through the modern industrial and business era. The historic Chapin Mansion is more of a true historic home, so we talk about when the home was built, the Victorian architecture and the beautiful decor, and we also talk about the fact that it was City Hall for about 80 years. Right. We talk about some of that history as well. I love that. That's so cool. That's awesome. Just our history is so important in general, right? But then local history is just fun sometimes. And so you had talked about the History Center itself, where this is more of a traditional style museum. What are some of the exhibits? You had mentioned the prehistory, but what are some of the other exhibits besides? Do you still have the two-headed goat, correct? A two-headed lamb.
Lamb,
yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. Two-headed creature, yeah.
Yes, that's when I was in school, that's the one that stuck out in my head was the,
yeah,
the two-headed lamb.
It is. So the two-headed lamb is still there. He's front and center right when you walk into the museum, sort of the unofficial mascot of the museum, if you will. And we get grandparents who bring their grandkids back to see that lamb. But we do have a lot of other exhibits as well. We have, we do start with prehistory. We focus a lot on Fort St. Joseph, which is the fur trading post that was located just south of Niles downtown. They've recovered some 350,000 artifacts there, and so we have a nice selection of those on display. And then we talk a lot about business and industry. We talk about women's history, African American history. We really try to focus on some of the things that you wouldn't find in a textbook or even necessarily old newspapers, artifacts. We tell stories through the artifacts that we have, and so we kind of weave those stories in everywhere. We just did a big exhibit on the Simplicity Pattern Company, which was huge, worldwide industry that really, it didn't start here in Niles, but it really grew here in Niles, and it was pretty much all under one roof, and it was in operation until very recently. So we've just opened up that exhibit as well. And then Ring Lardner, who is, of course, the famous author who came from here. We have a selection of things related to him. And then we go through, police, fire, school souvenirs, all those little things that you might expect to find in a local history museum. But
you wrote a book, correct, about you helped write a book about some of the artifacts from Fort St. Joe. Is that correct? You guys put one together?
Yes, we did that last year. Last year was the 25th anniversary of the Fort St. Joseph Archaeological Project, which is the partnership that we have with Western Michigan. So they've been doing archaeology for 25 years, or this is the 26th year. And so we thought it was a good time to do a little retrospective. And we worked with a photographer who also laid the book out and designed it. And we wrote kind of based on our exhibits. We grouped artifacts by category. So some of the religious artifacts we found, some of the trading artifacts. And it's just beautiful photography. We don't do a whole lot of interpretation. We wanted to leave people a little curious about, if something sparks their curiosity, they can come to the museum, they can talk to one of us and learn more. But it's just a nice book you can kind of set out, and it gives you an idea of, we get asked a lot, what do you find out there?
Right.
And so this is a good way to get a quick overview of that.
Absolutely, and it looks really good. It's a gorgeous book. The photography is incredible. So what's your favorite part of being the director and working with the History Center? Because you've been here for
several years now.
Yeah, it's 9 years all of a sudden,
Man,
so
wow, yeah.
that's fun. I guess the best part is that I still learn new things about Niles weekly. So much, I've been immersed in Niles history. You think you know it all, or you think you've heard it all, and I'm constantly surprised. This fall we did an odd and unusual Niles tour for the first time, and researching those stories was so much fun because it's not what we typically do. We typically research things based on exhibits, or we get requests for somebody looking at something. And these were some stories that we kind of heard about, didn't really have, a lot of time to focus on them. And this kind of allowed us to do that, uncover some of those strange and unusual tours, stories of Niles. And it was so much fun. It was well received. We're already planning to do it again next year.
Awesome. And so you talked about learning something new, over these 9 years, and even researching for this odd and unusual Niles. What's one of the most surprising tidbits that you've learned?
So, yeah, I was thinking there's so many of them. Every once in a while we come across a story that's just really crazy. So one of the stories that we did for that odd and unusual Niles tour was about George Kimmel, who was a guy who kind of disappeared and reappeared, not really sure what happened to him. Uncovering that story, it got national attention.
Right, yeah, because is that the one where he comes back and his family members were like, this isn't the real guy or
yeah,
something?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So if anybody wants to hear that story, it's pretty amazing. And like I said, it got national attention. This is the days before social media, before TV, and people were waiting in the papers to hear, is this the real George Kimmel? So that, other than that, it's just, you think you know something about somebody. Like we have this amazing person, Lottie Wilson, who was an artist and an activist in the late 19th century, an African-American woman who went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and just an all-around amazing person. We've been researching her a bit more, and we've uncovered some things about her too. So we're going to present a program about her sometime in the coming year. We'll talk about her.
Awesome. So look forward to that. So how can people learn more about the Niles History Center, and how can they support the Niles History Center?
Sure. So our website is nileshistorycenter.org. So we're part of the city. So you can go to the city website, or you can just look us up on our own. We do have a Facebook page too, and so we make sure to post all of our events and happenings there. You can always give us a call. We're scheduling spring field trips now. So if there's any teachers listening, we have several different topics you can focus on. We're always happy to develop something for you too if you're studying a particular unit in history. That's the amazing thing about local history too, is that it connects to so many bigger pictures, state history, national history. But that's one of the best ways is to just follow us on Facebook, check our website, and we'll list all of our calendar of events coming up, as they happen.
Awesome. All right. Well, Christina, thank you so much. I could talk to you for another hour probably about all the amazing things that the History Center does, but I'm sure we'll have you on again. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for doing this. I'd love to be back.
Hello and welcome back. I'm joined by Michael Rowland of Michigan Gateway Community Foundation. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I
Awesome.
appreciate it.
And so Gateway's been around for a long time, but there's maybe some people who don't realize what Gateway is and what you guys do. Can you give us as briefly as you can an overview of what Gateway is and what you guys offer people?
Yeah, for sure. When I got to the foundation, one of the things I noticed was community foundations as a whole are kind of like the best kept secret. We do a lot of work behind the scenes, and the short answer is we often fill the funding gaps between the private sector and the public sector. So a lot of times where communities need dollars, whether that be through education or through culture or healthcare, those are areas that the foundation come in, do granting, do scholarships to help communities thrive.
Awesome. And so how long has Gateway been serving the area?
Yeah, we've been here since 1978, so quite a while. And, we had humble beginnings. We started off as the Buchanan Area Foundation. As you know, Clark Equipment was a big thing in this area and during the 70s and early 80s. And some of the executives from that company saw a funding gap in South County in particular and wanted to make a difference. So they got in a room together, all signed some checks and signed some paperwork, and here we are today, still doing the work, but just doing it on a much larger scale.
Awesome, yeah. And so, like you said, you started in Buchanan, and so this show's called Hello Niles, and so people are probably like, "What the heck? Why do you have this?" And so,
Right.
but you're not just in Buchanan. So, talk about kind of the expansion that Gateway's been on, and the services that you offer the people in the community of Niles.
Yeah, for sure. So shortly after, we continued to grow and through donors and people that wanted to make a difference, and eventually, which led to the name change from Buchanan Area Foundation to Michigan Gateway, which happened in the late '80s. We expanded to the community of Niles, and we to the Cass County. So we serve all of South Berrien and Cass counties at this time, and Niles has been a huge part of that work. So again, we work in the areas to kind of make it, in short, in the areas of education, healthcare, and culture. And we serve those differently in every community that we serve, and year to year even, depending on what the needs are. And all of that is based in endowment. And for maybe listeners that aren't familiar with endowment, those are funds that are held in perpetuity. We invest those dollars, and the money that we use from them is the earnings that we create from them, which makes every donation that comes into an endowed fund last forever, which is a really cool thing to be part of. So we have amazing donors over the course of time that have worked with us, like the Cone family, created the Cone Fund for Families. That's a fund that is anything that's happening in the area of Niles and youth. It's pretty broad ended from that scale, but it does have to be in the area of youth. But one of the, some of the other funds that we have that have made a huge impact that people might be more familiar with is one of the biggest ones is Help for Homes. That's something that has been around ever since Habitat for Humanity left the Niles community. Says a lot about their organization that when they left, a lot of organizations like theirs would have also taken their money with them as well when they did the reorganization and decided to serve our community through the South Bend branch. That's not what they did. They decided to make take all those dollars, create an endowed fund to really serve their mission in the future. And we've used those dollars for many years to do home improvement projects for low-income and senior housing. The one right now that you'll see a lot this year is on this 3rd Street corridor. The community of Niles has a lot of investment in trying to bring that corridor back, and we see it as an area where it's like the broken window theory. You fix up areas, and that helps create a better quality of life for those people.
And so there's just a lot of opportunity, I think, for people to give and receive through the Michigan Gateway Community Foundation. Let's start with giving. If someone, you had talked about an endowed fund, and so if someone wanted to give to one of these funds, how can they do it, and kind of going again to the benefit of contributing to these endowed funds at the foundation, because you have a lot of them.
Right, we do. And they are all on our website, which is a great resource for people to kind of look at those and see. Someone might have an idea of something that they want to fund where someone thought about it already and invested in it, and that's an area where someone's donation, big or small, can make a broader impact because that donation is going to grow and last forever. Say, for instance, someone really cared about the work that's being done with Help for Homes, as I mentioned before. That's something where, their $50, $100 donation to that fund is something that will still be there next year with a little bit extra, and then the next year a little bit extra, and that'll continue till really the end of time. I always tell people you can buy something that has an impact for today, and it's great for today, and then that gift loses its shine and isn't something they think about 6 months from now. That gift of endowment, that gift of perpetuity is something that'll last forever, and something that 20 years from now you can look back and say, that donation is still here working within my community.
And so now let's talk about receiving from Michigan Gateway Community Foundation. You have a few times a year where people can apply for grants and things like that. And then, of course, you have the millions of dollars of scholarships that you guys give out. You want to talk about what's available out there for organizations and students and individuals?
Yeah. One of the big... And so we have 2 grant cycles where we take grant applications in from the community, and those happen in February and August. In November, we have a mini grant cycle, which are up to $500. They have to be student written. So that's where we get grants from students in Niles, Brandywine, the different communities. And then finally, and a big piece is our scholarships. As you mentioned, we're the largest scholarship provider in South County, and have a variety of really cool scholarships in Niles. Those open up actually January 15th. So if you have a junior or senior in Niles or Brandywine High School, I encourage you to have your child, go to mgcf.org, which stands for Michigan Gateway Community Foundation. And has all the information on how to apply for those. It's a one application for every scholarship that we have, so you don't have to really pour through every single one of these and try to figure out where you fit. We'll do that legwork for the student.
Awesome. So you heard it. Head to mgcf.org, and you can find out more information on the scholarships, endowed funds, and just some history and background on the foundation. Then from there you can also reach out about volunteering if that's something you'd like to do as well. So Michael, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm sure we'll have you on the show again at some point.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks. Charles.
Hello and welcome back, and we're here with our business spotlight of the month with Cathie Waggoner from CK Home Group. Cathie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And so, Cathie, why don't you tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you provide for the residents of Southwest Michigan?
Well, I'm Cathie Waggoner. I'm a broker owner with CK Home Group, and we're a real estate brokerage here in Niles, but we service all of Southwestern Michigan.
Awesome. And how long have you been a realtor?
For about 7 years. And CK Home Group will be 2 years in March.
Awesome. Well, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
that. And so why did you pick Niles as a place to do this?
It's where I've always lived and love. It's home. So it was just the perfect fit.
What are some tips you have for people, right? Like somebody's looking to maybe buy or sell a home for the first time. What are some of those tips that people can utilize, to help make this as smooth as possible?
So I would tell every first-time home buyer to do your research on a lender. There are so many types of programs out there for first-time home buyers, whether you are helped with closing costs, you can get grants for your down payments. Even the lending institution might have specific programs where they are, like a promotion where they're doing some type of closing cost or down payment assistance. If you're a veteran, there are different programs out there. So I would say definitely do your homework. Don't just assume you can only go to one place and it's going to be the exact same type of loan that you can get from somewhere else. You need to do your homework.
So it's like a second opinion, but from a doctor, right?
Yes, exactly. And you can, I would even say get 3 opinions.
Yeah.
It's always going to be different.
Awesome. And so for, what's one of the surprising things that you learned about becoming a realtor that you didn't maybe expect when you first started going down this path?
I would say how many people do not realize what all goes into buying a home. It's not just looking at a house and putting in an offer. It's, obviously the lending side, and it's also, the inspection side of things. Mm-hmm. You have to do your due diligence. You just don't want to walk into a house, even if it's a new build, get a home inspection because you never know. Yeah. And, people are like, oh, I didn't know I had to do that. Well, you don't have to, but it's in your best interest to do so.
Yeah, 6 months down the road, all of a sudden you have that leaky roof or the electric goes bad.
Exactly.
If you would have gotten that home inspection.
And especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you need to make sure you know what your expenses are going to look like for the next year, let's say, and you don't need an unexpected $15,000 to $20,000 roof.
And the cost of those things are only going to go up, right? The for the roof or the windows or the electric or whatever, that's only going to keep going up and up and up. And so, to that point, what's kind of your suggestion on how much people have saved, to put down as a down payment or something for a house for a first-time home buyer?
Well, it all depends. So again, if you're doing FHA, you're going to need 3.5% to put down of the contract price. Some lenders will do conventional for 3%. Some will do 5%. If you do the 20%, you're not going to have to pay PMI.
What's PMI?
PMI is private mortgage insurance. So if you go to a lender and you're only putting down the minimum, which is 3, 5, whatever, they're going to tack on another fee into your mortgage payment that basically is insuring your loan with that lender. So if you default, that insurance is basically going to help pay the lender back. Yeah. So, but again, it all depends, because if you're in one of those programs, like a VA, you typically don't have to put money down. So, it kind of varies on the person.
If people just have questions, can they call you? And be
Absolutely.
Like, hey, and so somebody's looking at a house, or it's looking to sell a house or something. If they just have questions, how can they get a hold of you?
So they can call our office number, 269-262-4731. There's always an agent answering the phones. And you can also reach us on our website, ckhomegrp.com, for CK Home Group. And, or even if you just see any of the 5 of us on the street, it happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
at
people
the coffee shop, whatever.
at the coffee shop, at Niles Brewery, whatever, people know what we do. And it's kind of it's always a conversation,
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that's like really cool is like, you guys are in the community. You're not just some like faceless, like huge corporate entity that's just saying, hey, we got to pump out these houses. Right. Like you're in the community. And from what I've seen, like the people that you're helping and you're selling and buying these houses like with, it's a partnership. And you.
Oh, absolutely.
So what keeps you doing it? You've been doing this for 7 years. What's like your favorite part of doing this?
You know what? I just love it. I love helping people. And I love my community. I mean, I'm born and raised in Niles. I left for a little hot second, like when I was 1 to 7, but that wasn't my choice. That was my parents, right?
You didn't join the circus?
No. But we came back, and I just love Niles, and I know a lot of people kind of think, what? Like, I never saw myself as leaving, growing up. And I love that I can share with people what I love. So I grew up on Broadway, 1300 block, and I sold, what did I have? 5 houses just this year right in that neighborhood. And I kind of felt like it was a full circle moment. And one was even right across the street from the house that I even grew up in. And it was weird. Like I had a moment where I looked out the window and I'd never seen my house that I grew up in from that perspective.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just kind of like wow, this is kind of cool.
Right. Yeah.
I love those type of moments.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just love everything about the community. I wanted it to be more than just a real estate brokerage. I wanted it to be where people could come and feel safe when they're purchasing a home or selling a home. And it's going to be a place where you feel comfortable with who you're working with, and knowing that we are here and we love our community. We want you to love where we live too.
That's great.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, we're happy that you're still in the community.
Thank you.
And once again, if people want to reach out and find out more, where can they go?
Our office number is 269-262-4731, or our website is ckhomegrp.com. And then we're also on all social media.
All right. Well, Cathie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in to this month's edition of Hello Niles. We hope you enjoyed our journey through the heart of this amazing community. Join us next month as we uncover more stories and special events from Niles. Until then, keep exploring and embracing the spirit of our wonderful town.